This video is part of my Sims 2 Ultimate Visual and Gameplay Guide. I will have a link to the full video down below, but per my subscribers' request, I'm also uploading the video in part, so make sure you check out the playlist. Don't forget to back up your game first before attempting anything in this video. And remember, not everything you see is achievable because of different screen dimensions, editing, rendering, and PC specs. I've got the basics covered. Let's talk about the game itself. This is where the visual aspect and the practical gameplay start overlapping a bit. I think having a hood that you love already helps to change the visual aspects of the game. There are so many different hoods out there, so choosing one you love shouldn't be too hard, and if you're picky, you can just get all of them. If you really want to have a major gameplay update, you should download a subhood. See, subhoods work kind of like university worlds. You know how you can't move worlds without losing all of your memories and relationships? Well, playing with subhoods works a little like this. Let's say you live in Pleasant View, but you want to move to Strangetown. That's not possible. But what if Strangetown is university? Then you could move back and forth without losing anything, right? That's basically what a subhood is. I don't use it, but definitely check it out. Let me also introduce you to some cheats. Help shows you a list of cheat codes. Motherload adds 50,000 simoleons to your household. Kaching adds 1,000 simoleons. Move objects on allows you to move or delete objects you couldn't before. Family funds allows you to give a certain amount of money to your family. So the way that you will write this is family funds plus family name plus amount with a space between each word. Bullprop constrain floor elevation true or false changes the elevation, helps create split level. Bullprop snap objects to grid true or false allows you to place objects outside the grid. Prop allow 45-degree angle of rotation true or false allows you to place objects at an angle. And of course, bullprop testing cheats enabled true or false allows you to bring up a whole menu of cheats for The Sims 2. Let's talk about installing lots and packaging lots. You want to go to your hood and click on this icon, then go here and click here, do this, and voila, house is ready. Beware, everything custom content related will also transfer with a lot, so you're giving someone more than just a shell. How to install lots? You download a file, and instead of putting it into your downloads folder, you double click it. Believe it or not, the way you build your houses, the layout, the colors, it all changes and helps your world feel more visually pleasing. I like to build my own world and pick colors that all work together or will go with everything. Imagine making a house that looks completely different from anything else in your game. Now imagine a house with a few basic colors that will go into every house with a few accent colors. Stick to a color scheme and accentuate with a few colors. Let me show you a few things that you can do that you might not know how to. I'm going to show you how to make a basement, how to create L-shaped or U-shaped stairs, and I'm going to show you how to get this. Let's start out with this one in the corner. So I'm going to show you how to do these stairs. First, what I'm going to do is we're going to activate this cheat, and I'm also going to activate this cheat just to be sure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to terrain, and then I'm going to raise the terrain. Then what I'm going to do is get the foundation, and dragging from the highest point towards the lowest, we're going to create our foundation. This is what this looks like. Make sure to delete all the tiles on the top floor. Then we're going to place stairs on one side. So let's go ahead and let's say we're one stairs on this side. Okay, so that will be our base. Now next, what we want to do is we want to connect the stairs to the upper floor. So now we're going to add our tiles. So I think we should just place some stairs over here. So we're going to select our stairs, make sure we select our square, and then we can just fill in the top floor as we normally would. I think you get the idea. Okay, so that was these stairs. Let's go over to the garage. Now for the garage, we're going to make a base level house or a base level room, and on either end we want to place a foundation, just one, two, however much you want, but we only really need one. With the same level terrain tool, we're gonna grab one end, drag it towards the other, and level the whole thing. As you see, the wall now acts as a foundation. I know I said I was gonna show you how to create garages, but I meant more so split level. Now, as for basements, so what we want to do is first we want to lower the terrain. And we're gonna get that same brush, the first one, and we're going to find the lowest point and kind of drag it down like this. Now, as you can tell, there is really not much of a difference, so I'm actually going to lower it quite a bit more. And then we're gonna get our foundation and we're just going to drag it like so. We want to cover those weird bits, those weird edges. And if it's looking a little weird, grab that same one up again and lower the foundation. I think it's doing a little bit of a weird thing in the corner because of the raised terrain on the sides, but that usually doesn't really happen. And now we have our basement. So what we can do next is add some paint, and then we can add some stairs, and now you have a basement. Custom content for your neighborhood is what's really going to change things. Just look at my collection. Trees, objects, items, roads, skies, clouds, water, and cars, houses. So many things. Highly recommend getting this. Also, if you go over to my blog, I have a list of everything that I have currently in my neighborhood. So if you're interested, go get it. This might be the biggest hood portion of this video, how to build your own world. First up, you can either download an empty world or make one through SimCity. This is how you do that. We're going to use a program or a game called SimCity 4. And what we're going to do when you load up the game, you want to pick a city, you want to pick a place for your new city. Now when you're in there, we're going to do a couple of things. So let's rotate this. So one thing I want you to remember when making your own world is that whatever you do here is opposite in the Sims. So if you want to make a road on the left side, it's going to appear on the right side. So that is something you do want to keep in mind. This is entirely up to you, and I highly suggest you just to mess around with it. This is how you create water. It's by creating craters. Add some hills. Yeah, why not? Let's do that like that. Okay, we got some hills. What else do we want? Maybe we want some mountains. Yeah, let's add some mountains on the edges. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, so let's say you're like, oh wow, this is the best thing I've ever done in my life. Okay, so next what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into mayor mode, and this is where we're gonna establish or save our city. So I'm just gonna call it new city. And I'm going to click on establish city, and then now we can add some roads. So let's say we want to add some roads just around the edges. So we'll just click and drag in a straight line because the Sims does not recognize, the game doesn't recognize any curves. So you're going to have to basically draw everything in a straight line. And then if these edges like show up a little, transparent, could just click on them. I don't think it really makes a difference. I'm not 100% sure, but that's what you could do. Just, be careful because every piece of road, like I said, let me just add some little ones. Make sure, where you place your things because it will show up. You can also add bridges. Now, bridges are formed when you just hold like one end of, I guess one end of a road towards the next. The game doesn't really recognize many different bridges. I think this is the one that it does recognize the most. I mean, that's the one I always use. So you basically hold it over like a spot where you want to add a bridge. For me, that's usually over water. And when we're done with that, we do want to go ahead and save it. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go and find this file. So the file is most likely going to be located into your SimCity region. Depending on the name you give it, you might have to look for it, but I had to actually go around and look for mine. But this is the one. It's called SimCity New City 20. I think because everything is called New City, it just kind of like puts it in this folder. So make sure you give it an original name. But we're going to cut this. We're going to go and find our SC4 terrains folder, and we're going to just dump that baby in there just like so. And then we're going to open up our game. We're going to create a custom neighborhood, and you're going to load up the file, the SC4 file that you just made. So I have quite a few, as you can see. Let's load this up. Oh, wait, did I make a big city? This is bad of me, but I totally forgot to mention that you can only make small cities. So if you just made a gigantic city like this, it's not gonna work. We need to make a smaller city. So this, no bueno. You gotta find something that's a little bit more like this. Somehow we've made it back to this world. As you see, I already added a few things. Those things are going to come after this portion of the video, but I felt like I wanted to show you how to really build a world before I went into like the nitpicky things. What you see, first reshade is on. I've got a water overlay, I've got clouds, and I've got a skybox as they call it. So next, what you want to do is we're going to activate a couple of cheats, and this is basically going to ensure that the whole world is flat. Sometimes you have a smaller object like this and it will just kind of look like, you know, like it's not laying down, it's just, do you see what I mean? So we want to make sure that that doesn't happen. Now before you start, make sure that what you're going to do now is what you start with, okay? Because you want to start out by flattening the whole thing to your likings. You do not want to start flattening things after you place down everything. Something's always going to go wrong, and the hood saves itself, okay? There's no undo button. You place something down, it's down. And if you, for example, done your whole hood and then something happens and it's messed up and there's like a black line in the middle, something like this, but in the middle of your screen, you're gonna have to redo everything. I am going to show you a few things you can do with your hood and just show you how I would do it, okay? Let's get started with the cheats. This is the cheat code you want to enter. Make sure it's on if you want to use it and it's off when you don't want to use it. There's this post online that I found when I didn't know how to do this the first time that I'm going to refer you to just because I have no idea how to call these keys. So you press these and that's how you work it. I want to level almost everything. I'll hold this, and sometimes this doesn't show up. That's because of a mod. That is something that you have to like look out for because it does work. Like the mod works, it just doesn't look like it works. So as you can see, pressing this button, it raises. The other button, it does the opposite. Let me find a decent height. Pretty much gonna just like take the spot as a reference point. So let's say this is our reference point, this green line. So we're gonna go over here. Sometimes it says like it doesn't work, but really just don't pay any attention to it. It just kind of tell you like, oh, I can't do it because there's a house there, but we can always just like go ahead and delete the lot. And I do also want to mention, like, I am definitely not a professional. Like, I literally just do whatever the heck I want. Sometimes you do things and it doesn't really work. In this case, it's really just trial and error, you know? Like you just have to mess around and come up with come up with a solution to some of these problems. I'm not gonna make it perfect, okay? But it's all more flattened out. How about just, okay, it's not exactly what I wanted, but how about I just flatten out this whole thing here? Just the whole thing. It's gonna look really weird, but it's fine. At least we can place things down. Not too close to the edge because that usually doesn't. There it is. There it is, not too close to the edge or you're gonna get this. Sometimes, not always, sometimes you can fix this by raising the terrain. Sometimes, but not always. And in this case, I don't think it's fixable. So we're just gonna have to look at this forever unless we make a new world. But I'm really not gonna start over. We're just gonna ignore the big fat black line in the middle. If I look at this, I'm like, okay, there's a lot of free space here. It looks like a very, I mean, with the background, a very beachy world. Could be part of the beach, but I'm very much into like farmland. So maybe I'm gonna change the background to something else. How about we turn it into something a little bit more green? I'm gonna get, how about I add this? It's actually a favorite of mine. Wow, isn't that beautiful? Just amazing. I tend to put like farmhouses near farmland, and then when I go ahead and build in those houses, I try to make it really look like it's part of that farm. So usually what I do is, if I can find it relatively quickly, I will give them like a little shed. I don't necessarily see it right away. Okay, but just imagine this is a shed, okay? And then just, I'll put a shed here, I'll put a shed there, and then I'll add some, like maybe some bushes around. Where are those trees again? Those are nice. This is usually what I use for like my more richer folk. Like it's not part of it, but you kind of feel like it is, if that makes sense. Also have, or I had, I'm not sure if I still have it, but I had some functional light, which are nice because they do lit up at night. In between, we have like a little playground for the kids. Yeah, guys, there's so much. Yeah, that would be like my farmland. Okay, beautiful. And then I would be like, oh, okay, blah, 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 blah. Maybe this is too much. Like I would get rid of this. I would probably get rid of this. I would, I'm always into making like a rich area. So I would make my rich area like maybe like here. Oh, I wish I had more time. I could spend hours on this, but then this video would be like freaking forever. I tend to make my ridge areas kind of look like they're connected. I just think with me, ridge area, big houses, and then I would probably use those fences, those bushes, these to kind of like stop it right here. Like, oh wow, it's like a secluded area, maybe like a gate to get in, something like that. I really like boxing things in. And then I would mostly probably make these houses like super big, and I usually just make like one area with super expensive houses, and then I have like the farmland because I really do love having a bit of both. And then in between I would probably maybe right here I would make like a park behind it. Maybe there is some more housing here, but then these would be more like of the inexpensive houses. So there's like a bunch of these right here, and then in between it would be stores. And you know, like I said, you can do so many things. You can even change the color of like rocks and stuff. And as you saw earlier, I also had some clouds. So like honestly, like these are base game clouds, right? But I had some animated clouds, which I just can't find right off the bat, but I know I have them at, oh, here they are. These are day clouds. Let me just give you a quick look, okay, at our world. It's not, you know, the most beautiful thing. I don't know why my mouse is refusing to look up. I think it's that black thing in the middle, but can you just imagine like coming into your hood and then you have like, I don't know, there's life happening, right? Like even I really did a sloppy job, but does it not have a vibe to it? Like you can just feel the vibe. I mean, I feel it. And then here's our rich area. Okay, so I think you get what I mean. Honestly, there's like thousands of things you can do, so I highly suggest just to play around with it and just really like enjoy it. Let me also show you a few examples of things you can do that are not done in like 20 minutes. Now, this is my favorite part, the custom content, the things you need to make this world your own. I'll just show you a few things you can get, but really, the sky's the limit. Well, actually more like your graphic card is, but you know, minor details. You can default replace grass, roads, trees. Again, I will show you a few things you can do, but the sky, your card, you know, something about limits. Skyboxes are boxes you put into the corner of your town to change the sky. Take a look at these. The arrow points in the direction you have to place it. Same goes for clouds. The good thing is that you can layer most of them. Water overlay is as it says.